with the emergence of a new solar cycle, with solar flares that interact with our Earth. A lot of people don't understand this, but there's a transfer of ideas. And for some of us already on the spiritual path, for example, people like myself, people like yourself, there might be certain ideas that come into our consciousness that weren't in our focus before. You know, I've been here about 3 years now in this part of North America, and it is a intense energy that seems to connect us with the cosmos, the light side and the dark side. I've been talking about a number of deep issues from my shed, and I think I noticed somebody hanging around more often in the last year, especially today. And it mystifies people if they hear someone that sounds like they're doing a radio show, or someone is perceived to dabble in magic. I can be perceived as that. I have protective feng shui mirrors around my shed. We're going to be talking about protection in this video for the members. There's a lot of people that don't appreciate the information that I put out there regarding deeper spiritual teachings on YouTube. And it could be argued that in the hands of the wrong people, certain types of knowledge and information, they can strategize to use that knowledge against us. And so the affirmation for today, I'm going to put emphasis on this video of us creating powerful affirmations, things of that nature. I'm going to pause for a moment as the people jog by. The reality is there are often physical consequences in this physical plane of reality when humans activate and they share that truth with others, where they share those codes of the matrix. They probably think I'm doing a selfie. What timing? And a lot of people don't understand that there are physical consequences when we live in a reality where we are helping other people unplug. And so defense is important, protection is important, and valuing the knowledge. One of the things that I want to talk about in this video, where I'm going deeper into some of my ideas after reading passages from a few books. A lot of people in this ethnocentric society like to change up the spirituality and the spiritual teachings, and they may dabble with spirits that they don't know a whole lot about, while overlooking totem animals and things that traditionally have been used by indigenous people. We have, I don't so much use the term mystery Babylon religion. I think that there is some really valuable knowledge out there about the use of symbols. It's that a lot of people misuse a lot of these teachings and pervert them, hybridize them, not necessarily for the better. And what I'm thinking about in this case is a lot of the people that call out for certain archangels for protection or assistance without first starting with grounding, removing the negative actions from their behavior that may be drawing certain energies, dealing with the basics. And so at the same time, I also seek to open up my own mind and understand how to most mindfully tap into the archangels and the right ones, the right angels, the right guides, not the ones that a lot of people are misled into opening themselves up to. So I've been giving some additional time recently on the concept of spirit animals, totem animals, and the animals in my own life that have always come to me in a really strong fashion, in addition to the sun. And one of the things that I started to construct at home, I'll do a video of it later showing its progress. But there's a number of stones from my own property that I'm aligning in a particular way. And so if you look up medicine wheel, Native American medicine wheel, with a stone in the circle, and then a stone for each of the four corners. We'll pause here for another moment or so. Staying on the natural river rock. Sitting down. That's okay. I'm sure just saying hi. So I was experimenting around with repositioning the feng shui mirrors on my property, and someone that takes walks nearby probably hears my podcast, was taking extra note to that, probably thinks it was a surveillance camera. I think I need a lot of space to be doing the work that I'm doing, and now looking back at my entire life, I can see the real reason why there's been complications for me living in an urban environment, and for the need to amplify some of the protective measures that I started out doing earlier, right? Expanding on certain techniques, okay? Things of that nature. One of the things that I also noticed when I was helping somebody recently in town, rather a mechanic that I paid some money to look at my car, there's a lot of people out today. It's the idea of dogs being freaked out by humans with powerful spirit animals. And so it's assumed by a lot of humans, which in this current day and age, there may be some people on the spiritual path, but a lot of people are in a dumbed down state of consciousness. And so some people misread the purposes behind a dog's bark, because even though they may own an animal, they're actually out of touch with the spiritual world, with their own spirit guides. They may have actually compromised on a level, with some people going for just simply the domesticated animal route. And so it's been recently, since looking at this information about the sacred cross and the medicine wheel, spirit totem animals, and also the history of that type of Native American spirituality in the Four Corners region of the United States of North America, which I am in proximity of. And so there's also purpose in becoming conscious, cognitive, aware, spiritually aware, intuitive of specifically why certain images and teachings may subtly be coming to mind over time, slowly crystallizing one picture, one frame after another, until it crystallizes into something that's more clear, until someone actually starts Googling and taking a look at certain things. I've also shared other videos showing certain sites in the general area within an hour's drive that have really strong Native American significance. One of which I showed on my YouTube channel, close-ups of the headdress of what appears to be like a rock with a face, but zooming up on the headdress of that face in the rocks, one can see Incan-like, Egyptian-like, serpent-like symbolism, from a snake to a dragon to something that even looks like a hybrid, or a cross between a human and something else, like a humanoid / serpent flying type of a thing with bat-like wings and with fairly clear detail. You know, and this is something that has been coming to mind incrementally so, looking at Bill Gorman's videos and the pictures that he has taken in a part of Colorado. There appears to be faces in the rocks, and there almost appears to be a mythological story being told that doesn't seem that far removed from Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology, right? Pre-Christian spiritual pagan views before the Crusades. And so there are spiritual ideas of the tradition of Northern Europe that is in many of our ancestries and is worth examining, because we are in a day and age where the white supremacists in our society are using the North mythology sigils in their attempt to bring them good luck. So this idea of the cross being used as a protective amulet, sigil, this is used across the world. It has been used for good. It has been used for evil. So I've been tapping into, since I started researching that particular symbol on a more overt, direct level in recent years, from the Native American tradition to the European tradition to the Eastern tradition. Before the Nazis hijacked the swastika, it was actually used in Buddhism. And so seeing that these power symbols have been used for multiple agendas, some perceivably good, some for the dark side, we can ourselves think about a mindful way to also use these symbols. And so what I would say to my audience that is taking notes regarding some of the information that I'm putting out regarding psychic self-defense, regarding evolving the soul, regarding protecting our mind from intrusion, protecting our spirit, protecting our body, and how it's all tied together, protecting our emotions. All of these things are tied together and more. It's a matter of what our intention is when we're tapping into these elemental forces. So on YouTube, I've started out in 2016, giving about a 1 hour overall discussion on grounding and connecting to the cosmic energy. Now I'm starting to put more focus directly on the sacred cross, on the medicine wheel, and other things of a more intentional nature, like more direct intentional connection with spirit animals than I have before. And I'm at the age of 39 years old. And I've done certain things for a number of years a certain way, and I've seen certain effects. The difficult thing in being born with these type of abilities, or psychic sensations, or other types of abnormal brain waves, there's other theories that I've come across with how that comes about to be. How biologically people can be subtly different based on genetics, based on ancestry, and something that is basically inherently a skill can, unfortunately, in this type of a fallen world, be viewed as something that is demonic. And so when I look at the recent slander and attacks that are way left field, and even YouTube promoting that, you know, it is kind of like a God shot in recognizing the value of my commentary, even if YouTube and the internet and that which can be controlled, clearly it is being controlled, and clearly so is the consciousness of many audience members that can be turned to the dark side, or have a kind of an energetic bipolar reaction to my content, where they might really appreciate it one day or 1 year, and the next day or the next hour or the next moment attack me because of a opinion on spirituality and evolving beyond the matrix that their religion is not in accordance with. And this is something that mankind, womankind, humankind has been dealing with for thousands of years. The unfortunate punishment that comes upon the true Gnostic on the earth plane. The crucifixion, the reality that we're facing now and sitting with now is that despite all that we do know, about the war crimes that have been committed in Afghanistan and Iraq. They got away with it. Trump's celebrating this. His supporters are celebrating this. And I'm certainly not seeing anyone on the left that's protesting this, because the murder of those people is not on their radar. And so what I understand is, no matter how beautiful people are, no matter how beautiful elements of these rural towns may seem to be, the undertone or underbelly is that we're living in an underworld where things aren't really that much different than the period in time in which Native Americans were murdered as colonization took place within this nation, as they were called savages, as they were hung and murdered to set an example to other Indians. What is happening today to indigenous people in the Middle East is the same thing that was done to the Native Americans. We're not yet at a level of higher consciousness and empathy to where people get that yet in their heart. People really do think that we've moved beyond the day and age of that type of persecution, that type of genocide, and that type of slavery. And so waking up to this and renouncing this world, not being attached to this world, is a big part of the freedom. A big part of my own bondage is trying to save people, help people see what I see about China and the future and what's coming in 10 years. Helping people understand certain things that are on the horizon. Unfortunately, even in 2019, we are dealing with levels of human psychology that parallels what we saw in the Dark Ages. We are dealing with Dark Ages levels of human psychology. All that's really changed is that we have cell phones now. All that's really changed is that we have the internet. All that's really changed is that people don't have to hunt anymore. They can just have the food trucked in. They can more easily live off other populations than ever before in known human history. This also includes inflated currencies, the nature of currencies and dollar values. And so people can live alongside nature while also having values that are adamantly anti-nature or anti-natural earth peoples, with more levels of melatonin in their skin, for example. People that have lived historically, ancestrally closer to the sun. There are certain people that will continue to be cold off the planet between now and the year 2100, I believe. And what we've just seen with this announcement from the International Criminal Courts that the United States and Western powers are totally innocent of war crimes in Afghanistan is indicative of an ethnic cleansing program that will only accelerate from here on out. I'm going to pause at this moment. We are about within an hour's drive of Bill Gorman's little location to where he's filmed Faces in the Rocks. And he has a website, he has a Facebook page. You type in Bill Gorman, Mammoth Temples. He's documenting the artwork of the Clovis Indians that traveled throughout the general American Southwest area, carving a number of things in this area as they traveled through. And we're talking like, you know, potentially 13,000 years ago, or around the time of the last major ice age, when they were able to migrate to this continent from Siberia and elsewhere. So early migration into North America. This is a key historical place and region for a lot of early migration, a lot of early human migration. And segueing, filling in a few other gaps while I'm on this particular topic, you have Mesa Verde in the Four Corners, which is connected with other historic Hopi Native American sites like Moab in Utah. But the site in the Four Corners in Colorado has the interesting phenomena of being aligned with the sun to a certain degree. Perhaps on a certain day, the sun shines through some of the rocks or formations there. And this detail was not discovered until the last year. And so this is at the core of a lot of Native American spiritual teachings. The sun itself as a living being, the sun itself as a conscious being, as a spirit. And this is something that is widely demonized in our day and age. It was a real wake-up for me, you know, to see 5 people thumbing down my 267 slides on the sun, with only 10 people recognizing the value of the information that was contained within it. And so I'm continuing to see this type of pattern with people overlooking the ebook and overlooking the basics. And it's very clear that there is a deep-seated soul disconnect with a lot of these humans that are in bodies. There is a very strong spiritual disconnect with the sun as a conscious entity. And there is a very clear agenda on the internet, and YouTube will promote a lot of flat earth videos. There is a big time campaign on the internet and the fake news matrix to convince the people that the sun is not real, that the earth is flat, that everything is a conspiracy. And the everything is a conspiracy worldview has contaminated the worldview, the spiritual worldview of a lot of people. Meanwhile, those that are overtly getting into spiritual ideas often are misled into elements of the dark New Age, working with alien spirits. Instead of appreciating the animal spirits, they will look outside of themselves to alien consciousness before they truly tap into sacred animal consciousness. And that is a good way to describe modern American spirituality as people are expressing it now today on the internet. They have a deeper connection with the planetary spheres than they truly do with the sun. And these types of observations of our modern world are observations that I think will stand the test of time. You know, that maybe in 20 years or 30 years, as people merge more with technology and develop more obscure counterfeit spiritual movements that seem to be authentic on the surface, but under the surface it's a counterfeit program that is there often, we can see it today, to keep people in a state of obsession on physical pleasure and material gain, while being responsible for ethnically cleansing a pretty sizable chunk of a population in another part of the planet with high-tech killing tools and robots that their ancestors could only dream of, and others that have been involved in past wars. So for people to attain a basic level of spirituality, basic level of being able to protect themselves from evil spirits, at some point the door has got to be closed, right? The door has got to be closed to the thought forms that are allowing this negativity to invade our communities. And energetically, it becomes somewhat of a critical mass. It becomes somewhat of a critical mass when you have a high concentration of people thinking in a particular specific way in a particular region. The paranormal potential for that is very, very strong. This is why there's a value to living off the grid, away from 5G technology, away from high-speed Wi-Fi, away from those technologies that are affecting people's brainwaves in specific ways that could lead them to be influenced and programmed to a certain degree. So I would implore you, on your own research, take a look at the sacred cross, the medicine wheel, connecting with spirit animals, and connecting with elements of nature, and not being afraid of that, and not letting people put us into boxes for connecting with the elemental forces, be they rocks, plants, be they the sun, other things. So understanding that's taking place right now on the internet, and understanding that people are being demonized, that are tapped into nature, as well as races of people that have lived alongside nature, aligned with nature, even if their cultures are understood, even if they're not perfect in their own societies, right? We are literally living in a time in which there is a war for the soul, and certain things are designed to take us away from knowledge, and by taking people away from nature, things that are natural, teaching people about the sun and its impact on human consciousness, people are being led into a world into a state of mind of continuing to be stuck. When in reality, the natural forces and the changes in the sun are providing knowledge, ideas, inspiration, visions that can help break those codes of the matrix. Take a look here at the sky, totally clear of all air pollution today. Standing up here. And I think that completes it. I'm Alex Ansary signing off. We'll talk to you next time.